Okay? And so that's a lot to digest. So here I am. Here you are. Let me. Okay. I like Cliff. Okay, we picked somebody up. That's good. All right. And with all of that, here we are. Let me check the body. Feels a little, I've been reading and sitting down, so the body kind of feels a little tight. Okay? And my mind goes nuts about, I should do this or that. So I'm just going to let that dialogue, I'm going to try to change it. Just be a little easier with my situation. My body's kind of tense. I've been kind of reading, sitting in a chair. I should stretch. I'm just going to be very, very easy. Easy is interesting because that's an aspect of men. The mind does this, the body does this. Men is easy. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to catch a little bit more depth. And now the movement is starting to kind of happen through the body. If I look for it, stiff is still going on, but right? See, one of the things that was said is, your body moves with the universe. Like, for example, here, I've got a left and a right. You see how the spiral, circle, spiral. Okay. And spend so much time up here. Now this, for example, does go up here, but then it goes. See, I can make an exercise out of this. Squats. But like, for example, that wants to stretch some more. It wants to go even deeper. Ooh, it wants to come up. So any sort of motion. And what he's saying a little bit right there is kind of interesting because he says your mind and your body. Key. Well, there's something. So there's me moving, but as you kind of get a little deeper, a little bit more in a feel sense, there's something that's moving here. Now my body is letting go of it to this pulse. All right, now we can change the movement. This starts to quiet down. This is still going on, but I'm settled a little deeper. And we could do this as calisthenics. Now, if I check back to the body, tight place is probably still going on, but my sense of it, again, that word, sense, the feel, sense of it, is the body is ready to move. Okay, I haven't done a ton of things. And if I was just to take this in a mechanistic way, this, okay, but here I'm starting to be more conscious of breath. So we were saying energy is moving, now it goes the other way too. But something's moving here. which reinforces or is a part of this. I'm conscious of an out and an in, but breath is a bit different. So, you switch from movements right, left. I'm moving. There's energy in my motion to. There's energy moving. I can move with it. Boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, it takes me to a place with breath. So I'm aware of it in, out, in the breath, but breath. And my posture starts to kind of straighten. And if I look for that dialogue, it's still going on, but I'm settled past it. So my mental activity is a bit more right here, right now. Now, if we were doing a martial arts class, or something, you could make an exercise out of this. 1, 2, 1, but here I feel like I'm kind of growing out of the earth. And this can be a martial form, but it can be boom, bringing me more in touch with this area. So an emotion. One thing that was done in the Aikido video that Hombu Dojo put out is, now this is, I would say, be careful with this one, because I have a carpet here, okay? If you have a hardwood floor, you might want to put something down. If you have a yoga mat or something. If you don't, and I would recommend you don't do this. But, for example, just simply down and forward. I just switch sides for some reason. Okay. And the first couple are I'm just doing a roll. And first couple, I just kind of getting the body a little bit there. But for me, it segues pretty quickly. Like there's a beat or larger flow. Okay, tied out, tied in. You can switch sides if you like. My body likes the movement. If I'm working at a desk all day, I get sick of all this mental activity. I kind of want to do something, but this is a little bigger. Oh, energy beats. If my mind relaxes or eye starts to kind of quiet down a bit, body starts to open, start to pick up this energy beat, which is different than I'm doing the movement. So try a couple more. Okay. Anyway, turn back to the group. Gee, I put my clock here somewhere. Now I can't find it. Oh well. Anybody with? Okay, good. All right, so we got a little bit into movement a little quicker. Anybody follow me or any observations on how you feel? Because we just said, you could say that's a warm up, but it's also a process. Anybody? If you just watch it.
I feel more relaxed and alert.
Yeah. Okay. See, we get so caught up in this, It pulls us out of ourselves into an I. We tend to think, I, but really, the I is just a lot of this interior dialogue. And as we sort of start to clear the I out, there's you there, there's a self there. Okay? So more relaxed and focused. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody?
This is Bonnie, also more relaxed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. See where this gets pumped up, does great things, and then it goes, it gets tense, it stresses. And so this is a little bit more like, okay, more alert. See, mentally, I'm in a better place when I'm not in this clutter. If I had to focus on something, it might be a good idea. Just take a little break occasionally, just sort of breathe, move, stretch, okay? And so that becomes important. Okay, just relaxing, but moving. Anything catch your attention, David? Anything?
Well, when you read some of what a sensei wrote, it always seems like it's so beyond my experience or anything I can do. But then when I just move and stop worrying about it, I begin to, I think, realize some of what he was talking about is a feeling and not some cosmic idea that my brain can't handle.
Yeah, that's the important thing, because what he says is very advanced, okay? But on some level, what he's really saying is that it's really, everything goes down to your sense, your feel sense of it. On the other hand, you can kind of go like this. You can get people that are somewhat developed, but their concept of themselves is very, very undeveloped. And so we're all multidimensional beings. And maybe a very advanced person, is really not thinking complex thoughts at all. It's just this stuff bubbles up through him. Makes perfect sense to him. But as your mind starts to go more towards a deeper sense of itself, really intelligent people, really creative people probably think less. Why? Because this is really too fast. That's why it's very difficult to wind down sometimes. But as you start to breathe, as you relax the body physically, the mind also starts to relax. But there's I caught up in all this noise. So I also becomes a little clearer, a little easier. The mind calms down. Body relaxes. This learns to relax, but this stays tense. So as you start to use the body or use a movement, this can be a study of energy. And also study of I being clear, allowing that energy. And as a consequence, your mind sorts things out. It slows down where it's more efficient. Body gets the exercise because it's doing the movement, but, okay? Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, so we're just kind of, for example, this motion. I can warm up for class. In breath, gather, out breath, release. Okay. See, who's stretching? I'm getting ready for class. Boy, when's class going to start? Gather. And release. Go to the second one. So I'm coordinating breath with emotion. So you have to kind of plant the seed for the tree to grow. You gather. And then you let it grow out. See, that's that same cycle. And you don't have to a million of them. Yeah. So any Aikido exercise, and check. Question I ask, how do I feel? Feel more present. I don't know how much more flexible I am, but the body feels looser, easier. Instead of all this stuff going on, it's still going on. If I look for it, it's still there, but settling into a deeper, calmer, more eye on this way to self, mind quiets down where it's a bit more focused. See this motion, that's fast, but it's, if you're too caught up out here, all right? And, any sort of movement, if you're going to shoot a basketball or something. I was watching some videos of Stephen Curry, and he's just so amazing how he moves. Okay? But if he's too busy, see what's really interesting, I was watching just some highlights of him. The defenders are busy. He goes like this, they go, then he's over here, and then he's over here, and then he's over here. And the defenders are busy, and he's not. All right? And so it's almost like he's calm center, and everybody out there is in the storm. And so, I like to use him because he's, to me, he's the master. Well, since he said, there are many masters of Aikido that don't know the meaning of the word. And he said, and the people that practice it, by and large, understand so little of it. Because we get caught up in the form. I am learning the form. I am training. And, a little different. The masters are a bit different. So if we can start to tap that more master level, okay. Let's see. So we got that one. I always do the other thing that we have done, and again, this is something that we caution, if you have a yoga mat or you have a good carpet like I have, it's just simply go all the way over. And you can use the space efficiently. Go over and switch sides. Okay? Now, there's a sense to say, okay, I got to remember how to do the roll. Just settle in. It's in the feel sense of it. Feel sense of it. You could do 1 or 2 or 10 or 12 or 20 or whatever. Getting you into that feel sense of it. Okay? That to me is very important. So if you feel like it, you've got a good surface, do it. If you don't, be responsible and don't roll on a hard surface. And I'm just trying to So any movement so it's supposed to how flexible and just how does the movement feel? For example, this motion back, if I go here, the abs are supporting that motion. In fact, from here we go. Okay. As opposed to, I'm going to dive in the roll. So just rolling, feeling. Other things you can do. See, I tend not to go clunk, clunk. See right here, the hips opening. It's the hip is like a plie for a dancer. It's hips open, that knee goes down like it's on a pillow as opposed to, I got to get over there. Open. Yeah, I would recommend doing this a lot because the carpet will, but So that sort of motion is good. If you kind of want to, this is a exercise that Yanase Sensei used to really like. He would do things, I would watch him when he was warming up. He would do this exercise a lot. But to me, what he was really doing, he was taking energy from the sky and bringing it into its center. And then he liked this a lot. It's kind of like the metronome. So you can do it up here, but say here, boom. There's a deeper beat to it instead of one. And you see, this is a different level of speed. Going this way is very different than that way or that way. All right? See, what I kind of noticed with Curry is by the time the defenders see him, he's over here. The defender says, oh, that's where he's going. Then he's over here. And is he fast? He's fast enough. Mainly he understands pace, flow, space, how to create space. So this motion, then also Sensei said that he would do it, get up in the morning and do it 500 times. 1, and 2, and 500 times. So we're getting a feel sense for it. What does the body feel like? The body feels more like molasses, syrup. Boom, 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 boom. Motion is freer. So I'm here, just working extremities. Boom, 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 boom. So move and feel. Move and feel. Boom, 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 boom. See, it's hard to move when it's the outer movement that's think, do it, that motion happens, that happens, that happens, that happens. Then you're a bit more like Stephen Curry. You go this way, if the reality, the defender, you go that way, but if they don't, you cross over. If they cut you off, you step back, well, no problem. Or you start dribbling back, they come out, you go by them, boom, 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 boom. So it's almost like, this basketball move, but this is Yanasa Sensei's, probably his favorite drill. Get to that place where body feels like molasses. Again, mind, what is that mind? Mind's calmed down. You need it, what does it feel like? Well, it feels like molasses or syrup. It's liquid, but it's thick, right? It doesn't just, oh. But when you're in this mode, time-lapse photography is possible, that long motion. Boom, boom. That's the basis of Tai Chi. Boom, boom, boom. And if you're just out there all the time, you wear your body out. But here, you're in that flow dimension. Boom, 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 boom. So, anybody follow any of that stuff? Any commentary? Then, Yanasa Sensei really liked the ground exercise quite a bit. He was a big guy for Swati Waza. He loved the knee work. He used to make us walk around on our knees for ungodly amounts of time. But anybody on any of this stuff? Anybody explore the molasses dimension? Thick liquid, but boom, time-lapse photography. Anybody?
Sensei, this is Bonnie. I briefly held some molasses doing the sitting and rotating the arms back and forth. It was very relaxing and filling feeling.
Yeah. See, sometimes you fall asleep within that dimension if it's I, but boom. I mean, so I'm watching Curry move. It's like he goes this way. The defender is up here and out there, and he's somewhere else. He's somewhere else. Boom. So that molasses dimension is very, very deceptive. It's like that Tai Chi. Looks like that boom, boom. All right. So yeah, okay. So explore it. Boom. All right. Anybody else?
Sensei, it made me think how much I'd like to do some Tai Chi classes on Zoom.
Yeah. We're in the process. Okay. That would be good. It was a good time. Tai Chi is good because you can practice it, by yourself.
Exactly.
Great social distancing thing, but the Zoom classes and also when the dojo reopens, and it will, Tai Chi, we might try to profile a little bit more, right? Okay.
I second, hi, this is Yu Chen. I second Dave's statement there. I think Tai Chi would be great in this time when we have to be far apart from each other.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Actually, it's perfect. Yeah. I remember there was a video, I think it was a couple of years ago, where Curry went to China. And, he and his brother, they both play basketball in the NBA, but he's obviously more famous than Seth. They were they were in a Tai Chi class. And I don't know whether he did it or not, because he likes to bring various things back. I got to bring this back for my workout. And, what's interesting about that is that he what I noticed was his body was really almost perfect. But what he did, his hands were too tense. See that sort of thick liquid place? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. That's where speed comes from. Okay? And so Tai Chi is good because in some sense when you start to come from that dimension, you don't wear the body out. In fact, that feeling in here actually promotes your own life force flow, your chi or your ki or your prana or whatever it is. So if I was to talk to Curry and I'd say, Steph, as you get older, you're not going to be able to do all those physical drills you do now to keep in shape. So you're going to have to kind of take the Tai Chi principle because you do it anyway. But you're going to have to be smarter as you get older. Okay, then you'll surprise people. If you want to play till you're 50, you probably can. You just be more like O-sensei, moving about this speed and nobody can keep up with you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, gee, did I forget my clock? David, what's the time like? Oh, well. Okay, yeah. And if you have something that you can move safely, again, boom, 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 boom. See, when I pick this up, I'm trying to figure it out. It's just so easy rhythm. Boom, boom. Yeah, for example, front back, boom, over here, boom, 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 boom. And as the body warms up, boom, 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 boom. I haven't really done any movements with the staff for this here. Boom. So, see, that thick molasses area is very but right? Training with Tojima Sensei. You work with him, right? And, he wasn't trying to foul you up, but you go, it wasn't heavy, but he was in that molasses place. Oh, oh, oh. So even here, see, the spear is moving quick, but really the body is in that molasses dimension. Oh, oh. See what? You're kind of like Curry, and the staff is like the defender trying to keep up with him. Boom, 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 boom. So if you have one of these, just pick it up and start to move. Boom, 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 boom. Some of these movements, for example, somebody's coming in from behind you, boom, and in front. Several people coming in, that's a start spear point. And boom, 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 boom. Okay, boom, boom, boom. See, again, there's that molasses dimension. Boom, boom. But it's a very deceptive one. Boom. Oh, 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 oh. So just moving. Do what you can if you feel like it. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. And you see various shapes. Boom, forms. Boom, boom, but boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Like that motion. Boom, boom. Attacker there. Boom, boom. There's even an attacker behind you. 1, 2, 3. And then you break the circle, and you're out of the circle of the attackers. So, sometimes, I'm here and I'm just trying to do the movements, but really boom, 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 boom. Boom, somebody behind me, boom. So that's more of a sword usage, but this tip would be also edged and sharp so you could cut with it. And if a bunch of people are coming in, boom, 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 and you're creating a storm of spear points, even though there's only one. And so that's the older function of it. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Oh. Anybody with a sense of this movement any different for the staff? Any observations?
Only in the general sense that I think I'm getting better at this.
Good. That's a general sense. If you dissect it, you might get overly self-critical. And if you just get too lazy, you'll just be an elevated sense, but your sense of it, movements flow more freely because I'm touching a different place. Boom, boom, boom. Different place in body. Mind is clear. Eye is there, but it's not there in an interfering way. And it's present in a type of more of a clarity, purity with itself. It doesn't get in the way. In fact, being in that place, it even enhances what the body does and what the mind does. So that's kind of like for us, we talk about a trinity. It's mind, body, self. Again, what I do is I hold with a long end, have a short end, and the long end is always where the spear point is. Okay? So to be able to improvise is very important. That's beginnings, or beginnings maybe, of O-sensei's Takemusu Aiki. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Hitting myself in the knee as much.
Well, that's part of learning. I'm sure, Stephen Curry, all this fancy stuff with the basketball, he probably dribbled it off his knees. How many times? I was watching a documentary once about baby flying squirrels. And basically they jump off a tree. It takes them about 3,000 times to where they can actually fly or glide. And that's a flying squirrel. It's a creature of nature built for that, right? 3,000 times they fall out of a tree, and it takes them how many times to actually their systems to, and they're built for it, specifically for that. So yeah, I do too. I quote myself. All right. Anybody else?
Yes, Sensei, I'm out here with not a joke, with a shovel. So feeling the different balance while going with the flow is definitely a nice feeling.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, because I have some heavier ones. Okay. And what I kind of notice, for example, when I'm working with very light, it's real important for me to have that molasses feeling. Because if I don't, then I'm out here, then it gets out of control. So even though it's a lighter staff, boom, the feeling interior is somehow, it's freer, but it's thicker. You see what I mean? But if I've got something much heavier, just hold just for a second, I'm gonna run.
Great spear point.
And I have to watch what I do with this. Okay? But this is heavier. Okay, I don't want to break anything. But see, when I'm doing this one, it's lighter. boom, boom. I do the same move sometimes. Boom. See, I can do this as a weightlifting exercise, but no, I want to see how smooth this is. So if you got the shovel, how can you make the shovel dance? Boom, 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 boom. Okay? When I'm working with something lighter, boom, 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 boom. Focusing on that sense of that molasses interior stability. Boom, 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 boom. So if it's heavy, I add a lift or lightning to it. If it's very light out there, boom, 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 then I add kind of that inner molasses place. Okay? So that's just a little tip for working with the shovel. Otherwise, you're going to swing it, and your body's going to get thick. And you don't want that. Okay? So anybody else? Observation? David, what's the time like?
It's about 3 minutes after 1.
Okay, so let me see. I'm going to. So anyway, this was the last one we did. We pretty much talked through the whole thing. So today I just thought we'd do a bit more motion. And so I'm trying to get more balance in the future. See, I can go this way, it's not too light. Molasses. Syrup. Now, boom, boom. See, speed comes out of that. It doesn't. I could be working on speed, but unlike the defenders are moving much faster than Curry. So he goes like that, but defenders are going like this. And boom, boom, whatever. Bop, bop, bop. And so, boom, 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 boom. If you watch our sensei occasionally, he goes like that, and the hands are so fast. But you watch him, he's not rushing the movement. Boom, 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 boom. So just varying the pace. But part of the movement, sometimes if you just want to do that, I do some stretching, and I usually have a pattern, but sometimes you can just sort of move the body, just check. I going more towards a calmer, clearer. Check body, freer, or depth. See, that thick comes from depth. You don't want to be like that. You want your hips frozen. Boom, 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 boom. And then the changes come very, very easy. Boom, 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 but. Okay, so I think I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Okay, today's Friday, so we're same bat time. No, actually, it's not the same bat time, same bat channel, but it's tomorrow 11:30. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sensei.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you as always, David.
Okay,
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, David.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't cut myself off. Okay. Anyway, I thought what we do is we start just with some sensei reading, and then we'll go into movement a little quicker today. Okay. And the term that I'd like to stress today, on some pretty big things like Kodotama and the floating bridge of heaven and things like that. But there's a word called nen, N-E-N. Now there's a word in Japanese called nen, it means year, But nen, this is a different reading of that sound, okay? And let's see. Okay. And I'm going in the middle of something right here, but he says, in training, you cannot get caught up in trivial or selfish thoughts. The one thing that we've kind of mentioned right there is that I is selfish. Even really great thoughts, you know, and actions have somewhat at an I level, selfish basis. But, you know, the misogi is another big word. I to self. All right, so getting out of I, selfish, even for big, good reasons, to self. Okay, and there's this word called nen. So we'll repeat that. In training, you cannot get caught up in trivial or selfish thoughts. This creates wantonness. Keep your nen, that's that word, free flowing. This is the nen we must polish, the nen we must activate in body and mind. The universe is in continual growth, a growth that never stops. And one of the things that I've tried to stress is that he talks about the universe, but the universe is a creation. It's ongoing as a creation. It's not a fixed thing. We are in this solid, heavy, material world, which Sensei called a Genkai. We are an I in that world. And in this world, I come. Whatever we truly are, compacted into an I. We are selfish. And so part of the misogi. See, I can't be free-flowing when I'm selfish, you know? So that word nen, that is the spirit we must maintain and know as our source of being. So if the universe is continually growing and evolving, it is a creation, then to some degree, since we come out of the universe, so are we. And so that word nen, if you do not realize these truths, you cannot practice Aikido. Now, you know, obviously you can put a gi on, right? Put a gi on and do the movements. But he's indicating practicing Aikido is more than that. Says Aikido is based on the universal principles of nature. And if you go against them, you will end up destroying yourself. That's pretty right there. Now, I mean, in terms of going towards self, as we go back into being selfish, what do we destroy? Well, to some degree, we can destroy the environment by being selfish about getting the economy going. We can destroy human lives. So, yeah, we can destroy ourselves if the I is too selfish and controls. Aikido is based on the universal principles of nature, the natural laws of creation. And if you go, okay, nen does not get caught up on the forms before your eyes. In other words, we see a movement, we copy it, it's a form. But he says nen doesn't. There's a movement that we can work on that, work on that, work on that. But the movement is right there. The movement also has a movement back. Boom, boom. Movement is. Now, we get caught up in making a form out of it. But the movement is itself. And the movement can evolve and grow. And when I make a form out of it, the form may grow somewhat, but I'm limiting it. And when I limit the form and limit what I see and created this form, I limit me. Okay? It links itself, being men, to the energy of the cosmos. Keep your senses sharp and in tune with the three worlds. In other words, he's manifest, Genkai, hidden, Yukai, divine, Shinkai. The universe is multidimensional. We fix on a very solid, limited sense of it. Therefore, we get trapped in that, in a very limited sense of who we are. Your body incarnates the grand design of creation. When you breathe, you are breathing in the cosmos. You and the universe are the same. Okay, now this next part, the secret of Budo martial arts is to link your nin to universal ki, to transcend the realm of life and death and stand in the center of the universe. Then genuine techniques will appear, the techniques of love. This is Take Musu Aiki. Tie yourself to that principle and it will resound through your being. This is the breath of ah and u. So he goes a little bit into the kototama sounds, although he doesn't explain it. It is unlimited transformation. And maybe that's a description of the floating bridge place. The universe itself is in continual growth, transformation. And by intending ourselves to stand there, so are we. And that can be very challenging because, I want to hold on to what I perceive as here. But he's saying we're part of something much vaster. And we get caught here. We look at the forms, and he's not necessarily just talking about the Aikido techniques in an Aikido class, but to begin to see through the movements this sense that everything, including us, is in this process, or can be, the process of transformation. It's just unlimited transformation. Everything new, everything in the moment, perfect creation. And we get busy up here. The internal dialogue creates an I in this material dimension. And we say, oh yeah, that sounds attractive. But to actualize and to be a part of that means the I has to go back to a clearer, more original sense of itself. And then can be translated as sense feel. Okay, I learned something. I gets better at something. And there's some of that that's important. But then the I takes it over. It's selfish. And so to be able to say, okay, I have a sense of it. A sense of it. And to allow that process of unlimited transformation growth, whether it's personal or situational or global, or, as O-sensei put it, universal. And then at that particular point, he says the movements become takemusu aiki. And that's pretty big. All right. I mean, most of us need guidance, so we see this form and then we kind of work out the form, and we get better at the form, and we get better at understanding the form. And there's some of that you got to do. But he seems to be indicating that what Aikido really is way past that, because in reality, so are we way past I. Okay? It's just we are. That's what we identify as, therefore, that's what we are, therefore, this is the reality we're locked into. And when he was talking about Takemusu Aiki, it was Aiki that was based upon the principle of love. The universe is one huge reverberation, and we should be in continual communication with that power source. That allows us to perform countless techniques. It is a marvelous functioning of ki. Your body and the universe are striking the same chord. So for me, what I'm looking at is, a lot of the Kototama chanting. We're making sounds. We ourselves are sound or vibration. And he says the universe is a big chord. And to put our chord in resonance harmony with that larger chord. So he said one with the universe. The universe is very vast, spatially. But if it's one big note, and since we come out of that note, we can attune ourselves to be in resonant frequency with that note. We become one with the note, one with the universe. Okay, so, and just a little bit more. This generates light, warmth, and power. When we train in Aikido, we should similarly ride the waves of sound to generate light, heat, and power. Nen, there's that word again, never operates contrary to the universe. It is derived from ki, which is very flexible. Never allow your nen to separate from the universe. Do not attempt to consciously refine your nen. Let it naturally develop through regular mind and body training. Train like this and your techniques will reflect universal principles. The techniques will continually develop in various ways. Stand in the center of the universe. Gather up the cosmos inside your belly and make Masaka Agatsu Katsu Hayabi a reality. And again, Masaka, true victory. Agatsu, winning over the self. Katsu Hayabi, that speed which transcends time and space. Okay, so in a sense, he's saying Misogi, clear the eye, go back to the more original. He's describing an interior process. He likes the heat, light, and strength or power. So it's not just a thought. And he says, breathe the cosmos in to your belly. So it's not just the pure. How can I visualize that here? Through breath. So Nen is about your feeling sense. And if we're in a tiny contracted eye listening to this interior dialogue, we're very far away from what he called Takemusu Aiki. because, you know, there's love there, but it's selfish love. And so as the I returns to its more original, the level of love that it is able to appreciate and envelop itself with becomes more original. And O-sensei was standing in a very, very, very original purity, where self was pretty much pure. And therefore, his sense of union with creation was very, very unique and strong. And so, you know, the statement right here, do not attempt to consciously refine your mind. Why? Because the I will do it for selfish reasons. So he says, just let it develop naturally through regular mind and body training. But he's not just saying physical or just mental. He's saying both. And the last part, your mind should be in harmony with the functioning of the universe. The universe is functioning, but it is an unlimited transformation. That's our mental state, not the interior dialogue. Your body should be in tune with the movement of the universe. So there's patterns of movement in the universe, flows in spiral circles, it moves in waves, in, out. And if you look at the forms of Aikido, that's pretty much what you see, okay? So the body is not just a mental exercise. The body is moving along these patterns of flow. Body and mind should be one with Ki, unified with the activity of the universe. So, the universe on one level is Ki. As we unify our mind and our body, what is tuned into is some level of integration or Ki. Right? And if the activity of the universe is unlimited transformation, then so we, as we kind of move along that path, we embrace that, and that's a lot of what Sensei talks about with Take-Rusu Aiki. And you know, one of the things about it is that a lot of times, what spurs you on? I mean, in some sense, he's really talking about love in not a selfish way. I mean, the level of the I, there's love, but it's selfish in some sense. It comes back to self in a way that, you know, but love, huh? And if you love something, it motivates you. In terms of training, I think one thing he was on was Sensei, he was on a great journey. And you know, his tool, his path was martial arts. And he traced it back, as he traced himself back from I to self, to more original self. He began to catch that as that happened, his sense of what it was, you know, it was very much about love. And we can translate everything he says into this. And so, you know, he's saying mind and body. Now he also references a lot body, spirit. So mind tends to get caught up here. Body gets stronger, but on the other hand, eventually body ages, and so body has its limits, but mind and body. So he's setting the stage for some things. I think the major problem, there's a problem with what he does. He's so advanced. And most of us are just wrestling with I, right? I am training. I am trying to do the mind-body thing. I'm exercising. He's saying, yes, and deeper, and deeper, and deeper, and deeper.